Hello, beautiful humans. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching the episode. If you guys have come over from the YouTube, I guess it's a premiere of a pre-recorded video, not necessarily a live. But here we are. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you watched the episode, I welcome your questions and your comments. I also want to point out to anybody who was watching the video, and especially to those of you who were engaging in the live chat, you may have noticed that there was a chatter who had the username Spence's Music, who said that they were a current active member of the LDS Church. And I just want to, they were very respectful. They had a lot of good comments to make. And ultimately, I think it was probably their goal to have us go and look at some of the apologetic comments. There are lots of LDS apologists, lots of historians, and lots of people who play the role of saying, yes, I know this was problematic, but have you considered this point of view? Those are considered apologists, people who know that there are problems with the LDS doctrine, but they want you to look at other points of view. They want to sort of explain away possible problems and issues. So I just want to share something with you. While we were there in the chat, I always like to know who my chatters are, by the way. So sometimes I go to visit their YouTube channel just to see what their posting history might be or what their interaction with other channels might be. And I went to Spence's Music's channel, and I just want to share this with you. This is what Spence's Music channel looks like. There are no posts. This channel has no content. They've been a member since May 17th of 2023. And I just want you to know that sometimes the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints will create puppet accounts on different platforms, like in Reddit and on YouTube and on all kinds of different platforms, because they want to look in on what's being said about the LDS Church. And this sort of looks like one of those channels. I will make room for the possibility that there's a user on YouTube whose username is Spence's Music, who genuinely is curious about what ex-Mormons are saying about the church. But to me, it looks mostly like one of these channels that is sponsored by the LDS Church, where they go create these dummy accounts and then they come and comment on ex-Mormon content and try to get people to look at the apologetic view of the LDS Church. Monty D, yes, sock puppet accounts, definitely possible. So if we happen to see Spence's Music, I actually left my email address in the chat there for anybody to contact me if they want to. But I don't think that a lot of members know that the LDS Church does this. And I just want to call attention to it, because there is a committee in the church headquarters in Salt Lake City called the Strengthening Church Members Committee. And their entire job is to go out on the internet and to go out in public and to see and hear what's being said about the church, and then to go out and combat the what they call disinformation or misinformation about the church. And so I realize, yes, there are people out there with private accounts who are real people. However, this is a very, this account didn't say it was private. It just said that there's no content here. They're not following anyone. Nobody's following them. They haven't posted anything. It's literally just, and there's no picture. It's literally just a ghost account. So I just want people to know that this is something that the LDS Church does, is that they send people out onto the internet to look at anti-Mormon, what they call anti-Mormon content, and to see what's being said. And I guarantee you that with the number of anti-Mormon videos that I've posted lately, I probably have the attention of somebody who is trying to see what is being said, what I'm saying about the church. Does it have any credibility? Do I have enough of a following? And what was really interesting is that John Dehlin was talking about this. John Dehlin is the creator of the Mormon Stories channel. He is the longest running podcast in history because he started his podcast back in 2003. And he basically just started talking about his experiences on his LDS mission. And then it grew into people telling their stories about the Mormon church. He's had faithful people on, as well as ex-Mormons, other ex-members from other cults and high demand religions and things like that. He's just an advocate of telling people's stories. He's also an advocate of informed consent. He's never said he's trying to pull people out of the church. He's never said that he's trying to create faith crises in other people. In fact, just the opposite. He doesn't want people to have a faith crisis because it's incredibly painful. All of that being said, he went to church headquarters to go meet with, I believe it was Jeffrey Holland of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, where he wanted to talk about some of the things that he felt were problematic about the church and why people were leaving. And he said when he went up into church headquarters, he was walking past people's offices and cubicles who had Mormon Stories podcasts pulled up on their computers, and he could see like his logo was all of these places. And there was even a meeting in 2012 where the Strengthening the Church Members Committee listed all of the current threats to the LDS Church and where people were leaving, and John Dehlin was on that list. So there is a committee that goes and seeks out content on the web to find out what's being said about the church. And then they go and they send people to, for example, just a hypothetical situation, make comments on a YouTube video to engage with the chatters, to see what's being said, and to see if there's any little holes where they might wiggle in and see if they can get content in that's going to sway people back towards the more apologetic view where it says, oh, we knew Joseph Smith was a polygamist. It wasn't that much of a problem. Let's explain it away with these, simple explanations. So I just wanted to point that out because anytime that I see something suspicious, I'm just going to call it out. So I just want to say, if anybody sees Spence's music on my channel or anyone else's, and here's the funny thing too, like they have so many dummy accounts that you could probably never track them all. But whenever I come across an account that has zero content, it has zero followers, it's not following anybody else, but they've been around for a while. Like if you've been around since 2023, you've probably at least liked one video or something, and there's nothing here. So I just wanted you guys to know that that's something that the LDS Church does. It seems like a tactic of a high control group to me, to send spies and bots and people out there to see what's being said about their organization. It just kind of proves my point of some of the things that I was saying this evening, that it's indoctrination. Like they indoctrinate you and then they tell you don't go out and seek out other information that's not being put out by the church. So anyway, sorry to just start off the live with such a I don't know, a negative kind of thing. I just wanted to point that out because not a lot of people know that the church does that. So there it is. Again, thank you for being here. Thanks for your support. I appreciate it. That was a difficult episode for me to do. If you remember and you saw, I posted earlier in the week that I was procrastinating that episode for a really long time because it was so much to unpack and I didn't know where to start. And I left in all of those edits of the things at the beginning where I was like, okay, I started here, but I feel like that's not the right place to start. So I got to start over. It was really draining to get through all of that. So I really appreciate your support and for being here. I'm just looking at comments here for a second, you guys. Teddy Bear, I mean, do you want me to go and look at your account? I can show it on the screen. I'd be curious to see what it says. Yes, if it was Scientology, I would be a suppressive person trying to get the truth out there and trying to call the church out for their bad behavior. Yes. Well, okay. So sometimes it depends on what you make public. Like you can shut down your settings so that people can't see the videos that you like, and so that people can't see the channels that you subscribe to and follow. You can shut down all of your settings to make everything private. But if your account had actually been active and you had people who are following you, or you had posted something, like, this is the main thing to me. I know not everybody on YouTube posts something. So it says this channel doesn't have any content. That means they haven't posted anything. That's not necessarily a red flag. But if you go to more about this channel, it just says when they joined. You can share the channel with somebody, you can subscribe to it, but there's no other information. So I'll just show you, for example, let's go to my channel. I don't know. Let's see what it says. Let's just go here and see what it says. So if you go to my channel, you can see all of the things that I've posted, right? You can see, okay, well, this is recommended for me. So maybe this is just my view. I don't know what other people see. But then this is my Midlife Revolution playlist, my past live streams, my videos, my shorts. You can see how many people are subscribed to me. I guess you can't really see who else I like, but here are my links, all my posts, my views. I joined in 2011 because, I mean, that's when I joined YouTube. Yeah, so all my links are there. Everything's there. So obviously my channel is very public, and it's intentional that it's public. So I would be interested to see, like, somebody who has their settings kind of knocked down to privacy, somebody who's not a dummy account. So anyway, yeah. Thank you for this. I appreciate it. Thank you. Sorry, guys. I'm just looking at comments. Yeah, trolls do that too. And it's possible. I've had a couple of people in the last month or so who got blocked from the channel and had their feelings hurt about it. So it's possible that they went in and created new accounts and are trying to come back in and engage. And yeah, Monty, thank you. It's been a heavy couple of weeks. And it's heavy, but I always feel like when I get to the end, I feel so much better. After kind of unpacking everything and going through all the feelings that I have, because it helps me, like, get it out of my brain. I, like, said that there's always, whenever I have it still in my brain, it's still taking my energy, and I don't want it to anymore. So talking about it helps me get it out there. So in some ways it is a little bit selfish, but at the same time, I also know that it helps other people who are going through the same thing, who don't necessarily have the words for it yet. And that's where I was, back in January of 2023. I didn't have the words to talk about what I was going through and what I was feeling. So I was really grateful for the people, the content creators who are putting stuff out there, so that I could hear other people talk about their experiences and hear the words that they were speaking, because in my life, none of my family members, none of my friends were going through the same thing. And I needed that connection. So I'm just really grateful. I'm grateful to have this platform to talk about. So Kitty Marie, brainwash is a key word they look for, especially if it's in conjunction with Mormon. Yeah. So I think that the thumbnails that I use sometimes are probably not appreciated by the church, because I tend to use Rusty's picture, I tend to use a picture of the temple. And yeah, I put the word brainwash on that thumbnail because that's what I felt like. I felt like I was brainwashed. I felt like I didn't have anything outside of the church. And so for 100% of the time, I definitely felt brainwashed. Okay, so Destiny, for real, do you mind if I go to your channel real quick and see like what yours looks like? Because I just would be curious to see, but I don't want to show it to everybody if you're not comfortable. So I don't know who Michael Sandler is, Inspire Nation. I will take this under advisement. Yeah, so guys, whatever I put out here, it's never meant to be like the end all be all of truth or information. Um, the disclaimer that I always put at the end of the video is like, I do my very best to research everything. I do my very best to make sure that everything that I say is truthful. I don't ever want to say anything that's inaccurate. And if I do, I want to be called out for it. I want people to say, hey, this was not quite correct. And lots of times people will come in the comments and say like, hey, did you consider this, or this would have been a more complete story. I'm so happy to have people tell me that. What I'm trying to do is talk about my own experiences. And sometimes that overlaps with the experiences of other people or other organizations. And I realize that I'm coming at it from my perspective. And so what I hope that consumers of my channel are doing is looking at the information that I present and comparing it with their own experiences and their own research, and then coming to their own conclusion. I'm not ever out here to tell anybody, this is what you should think, this is what you should feel. No, absolutely not. It's just information. It's just my experience. And what I'm hoping is that it helps other people going through a similar situation to just have someone that identifies with them. Like, I'm here for you, and for whatever you're going through, I'm hoping that my experience resonates with what you've experienced and that it helps you to know that you're not alone. That's all. That's all. Okay, so we have permission from Destiny, and so I want to just go. I'm going to go to Destiny's channel and show you what it looks like. I'm curious too. What somebody else's channel looks like that's not mine, because I realize like mine is cached and whatever. So let me see if I can find it here. Okay, so let me share this real quick. So this is Destiny's channel. She's a friend of the channel. It shows she has 32 subscribers. She has 103 videos. She has a little bio about herself, which it's always interesting to me when when somebody has a channel with nothing about themselves. It's like, you're not engaging publicly. But when somebody's in my chat and they're engaging publicly, but they don't have any of this filled out, that's a little interesting. See all the links that she has posted, and Destiny is a great writer. You should go check out her blog on WordPress. And then she has videos that she's posted, playlists that she curates, and community. So this is what it looks like when you have a real account that is actually engaging on YouTube. Now, again, you don't have to post content in order to have a profile like this, but just the fact that she has her bio filled out and that she has videos that she's liked and subscriptions that she subscribes to. Again, you can make all this stuff private if you want to, but the fact that there was nothing there on the other channel is just interesting. So even if you don't post content, sometimes like you at least have your likes and your subscriptions are out there, whatever. I have not specifically heard about the cavalry, but I wouldn't be surprised that they have groups that are named. So, Monty, I want to answer this question. If you wanted to rejoin your family forever, hypothetically, what would be the steps, or are you written off for good once you're dissociated? If you decide that you want to go back to the church and you want to be resealed with your family, you can go to your bishop, and it doesn't have to be the bishop that was the bishop over the ward when you left. It's just wherever you live currently now, right? You can go back to the bishop. You can say, hey, I was a member of the church. I left the church. Now I want to come back in. He'll do an interview with you. And again, bishop roulette. So you could get everything from you have to repent from all your past sins and pay all your back tithing to welcome. We're just glad to have you. Show up. You can get rebaptized. Fun fact that my cousin Alex, who was heavily involved with Lori and Chad and the cult, was excommunicated twice and rebaptized twice. So if you really, really want to, you can get rebaptized. And then after you've been rebaptized, at some point, and I don't know if there's a waiting period or like an interview process you have to pass through, but you can have your temple blessings restored to you. And I guess it would be at that point that you would be considered to have like your sealing reinstated if you wanted to be back with your family. So again, it's like a huge process. You have to go through the whole thing. And I have maybe twice or three times like just had a little daydream about like, what would it be like if I pretended that I wanted to come back to the church and I went back to my bishop and said I wanted to be rebaptized, and then like just became a mole. But I don't think I could do it, you guys, for very long. I don't think I could pretend. So, okay. So Teddy Bear 1287, let's see what your channel looks like. Just out of curiosity. So this is Teddy Bear 1287. Let me go to the main thing. Oh, video here. Okay. So, 11 subscribers, and then, it shows like the video. It just gave me this video, but if I go to, let's see, how do I get to, I think I have to click on it. There we go. Oh, maybe that's the wrong thing.
I'm ready for the broadcast, honey.
Somebody who tagged you in their video, so I think I'm in the wrong place. I apologize. Maybe not. Yeah, I don't know. I'm in a rabbit hole now. I'm gonna leave the rabbit hole. Sorry, you guys. I just think it's interesting to look at other people's profiles and just like see, because I know what real profiles look like, and fake ones, and that seemed like a fake one to me. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. And if they come back or if they email me, I'm happy to report back to that and everything. The reason you have to get baptized again is because if you ask to have your name removed from the records of the church, they consider that all of the ordinances that you've completed while you were in the church, including baptism and going to the temple and all those things, are canceled. You're done. You don't get those things anymore. So you have to like start over at the beginning of Mormonism again. So anyway, yes, McSpunky is famous. Vinnie Politan from Court TV made a song about him. You should go check it out. I think it's hilarious. Anyway, all I wanted to kind of get on here and talk about just a little bit is the fact that I think a lot of members of the church, when you're in it, especially if you've been raised in it from birth, and if you have never considered any other religion, and if your entire family is Mormon, you probably haven't, because they've all told you that everything that you're doing is the right thing, is the only thing, etc. It's kind of different than if you came to the church later as an adult. It's kind of different than, I don't know, if your parents were like the first generation to be Mormon. Looking back on it, I just think Like, I don't think my parents really had much of a choice either. Like, my dad, even though his mom was baptized and she was the first one to be baptized, like, when you're a 12-year-old kid and your mom is getting baptized, I remember my dad saying that, like, he asked one of his pastors or something some questions, and his pastor said, "Oh, you should not ask questions. Just don't ask questions. You don't need to know that." Um, so coming to Mormonism, a place where there's an answer for everything, it's the comparison to other religions and other communities. It seems true that they don't really have everything, because when you come to Mormonism, there's an answer for everything. So I just think that when you're raised in it and it's such a generational thing, um, there really isn't a choice. There's no such thing as consent when you're an 8-year-old. You're not old enough to make that kind of a choice to differentiate yourself from your parents, because it's the same as death. You might as well, you might as well be dead. Um, and then your whole life, you're brought up to believe that all the people who leave are miserable, and you know the whole stigma behind being ex-Mormon, where they're like, oh well. So just as an example, you guys, when my job was eliminated a couple of months ago at the end of July, I don't know, I'm time blind, so the end of July, um people who were not in the church were like, oh my gosh, what a great time for you to just like figure out what you want to do next. And the people in the church were like, oh, it's because you were sinning. If you had stayed a member, your job would never have been eliminated. You would never have any hardship like this if you hadn't left the church. It's like when you're in the church and you lose your job, they're like, oh, God is giving you a trial. I'm sure you'll be fine. Would you like a casserole? I'm happy to bring one over for you. Let me pick up your kids while you have a job interview. In fact, go see the ward employment coordinator. I'm sure he'll help you with your resume. Whereas if you're out of the church, it's like, oh, you were sinning. That's why you lost your job. So it's just kind of this double standard where it's like, if you're in the church, we love you, we accept you, we want to help you. And if you've left the church, you're a pariah and you brought all of this misery on yourself. And what's really, really interesting to me is I did a video, I can't remember which video it was, where I was commenting about General Conference happening in Salt Lake City. And people literally stepping over homeless people to go into the conference center and not paying them any attention, and thinking about, like, what would Jesus do? Would he be sitting in the conference center in a meeting, or would he be taking care of the homeless people? And just raising that question, I got so many hateful comments on my channel from people who were like, well, the church believes that you should be self-sufficient. That's what we teach. We don't just give money. We don't just give a handout. We teach you to be self-sufficient. I'm like, I'm sorry. If someone hasn't eaten in 2 days, they don't need a lesson about being self-sufficient. They need food. Go take food to them. Why are you denying them what they need because of your self-righteous belief? And the church has so much money that they could help the homeless population in Salt Lake City right where they are. And even, you don't even have to go that far. LDS Church minions who are listening, please think about this for a second. You have members of your own church who are starving and homeless and experiencing food insecurity and abuse. You don't even have to help the apostate population of people who don't believe in your church. If you just only took care of your own members and stopped making your own members pay tithing when they're destitute or poor. If a member comes to you and says, I don't have enough food this month to feed my family, can I please go to the bishop's storehouse? Can you please tell them, save your tithing? Use it to feed your family this month instead. Could you please say that instead of, oh, paying your tithing is going to make you more worthy. That sacrifice is going to bless you. Even if you only took care of the members of your own church, that would be a huge step forward So, yeah. I like these comments that are coming in. I knew you would see those homeless people, and we're told to leave them alone. We're told to not give money to these people because, the comments that came at me where they were like, oh, they're just going to spend it on drugs. Oh, they're just going to spend it on alcohol. Like, I'm sorry. You can watch a human suffering and judge what they're going to spend the money on. It blows my mind. These people, this is why people say Mormons aren't Christian, because they don't follow just the very basic things of what Christian people do. They help take care of people. I want to join you and go help these people. I think you offered this or something. Yes, I offered it. I'm going to do it in April. Somebody from Salt Lake reached out to me and they said that they're going to partner with another organization that's already helping homeless people. So I definitely will have more information about this. I'm very serious about doing this. And not even just as a snub to the Mormon church, but just to say, like, I want to be out here helping the people who need it the most while you guys are having your meeting. Go ahead, have your meeting, go sing your songs. I'm going to be out here taking care of human beings who are suffering. Yes, who left the sick, and yeah, right outside their gates. I 100% agree with you. So we're supposed to give 10% of our income to the church. So if we get a paycheck for a gross of $1,000, and then they take out taxes and our take-home pay is like $800 or whatever, we're supposed to give $100 to the church. So, after studying personal finance and studying investing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, if I were a bishop, and I did at one point declare myself bishop of the digital ward, which I may go back to that at some time. I just got busy doing other things. But on my TikTok channel, I declared myself bishop of the digital ward. If I were bishop and somebody was having a hard time financially, like if they were in credit card debt, or if they had lost their job, or if they were having a hard time making ends meet, I would say, take that 10%, pay down your credit card debt, feed your family, come back and give to the church when you have some extra. That would just be me as a bishop. So that's probably why they would never, well, first of all, I have the wrong body parts to be bishop, but there's that. The looks of condemnation from the leadership of any church. So I just want to say that homelessness is a very complex problem. It's not an easy problem to solve. There's no one fix. There's no silver bullet. There is no one reason why people are homeless. It's complicated. There's lots of different issues. There's mental illness. There is housing shortage. There is the issue of the minimum wage. There are so many things that contribute to homelessness. But what I keep coming back to over and over is, if there's a person who doesn't have a place to sleep at night and they don't have food to eat, I want to help them with that issue. Because when you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? On the very bottom is safety, housing, like shelter, food, clothing, all of those things. And if you can't solve those problems, you can't solve the problem of how to get a job, of how to fix your mental health, of how to fix addiction, of how to do any of those other things. So all I have to say, if someone needs a meal, I want to provide it to them. So yes, there's a catch. Yeah, we'll help you if you come to our church. They will give support and money to people who are members, like if they will come and get baptized. But yes, even if you don't want to give them money, you can sit with them. And I will definitely let you know. I will let everyone know. And Nerms, yes, I agree. One of the first experiences that I had with the homeless population was when I lived in Connecticut. I went into New York City all the time. So, of course, I saw a lot of homeless people. And I was in the city with my family one time. We were near the New York City Public Library. We were just there as tourists. And there was a man sitting on the sidewalk who was very dirty. He was wearing a camouflage jacket, so we kind of assumed he must have been military at some point. And he was wearing shorts, and his legs were covered with streaks of blood. And he was very dirty, and he was very he looked hungry. He was very skinny. And I told my dad, I was like, can we give him some money? Like, I felt really bad for this person. And my dad's policy was always like, he would go buy them some food. Like, he would go to the nearest food cart, get them whatever meal, and go give it to them. So he was just about to go do that when this Mercedes pulled up, like right next to where he was sitting. And this woman in a big, long, full-length fur coat got out. And this sounds like a meme now when I say it out loud, but I absolutely tell you, this was my experience. Woman in a long, full-length fur coat gets out, walks up to the homeless man, or the person we thought was homeless. He stands up and takes out of his shorts pocket a huge wad of cash and hands it to the woman in the coat. And she gets back in the Mercedes and leaves, and he sat back down. If I had not seen it myself, I would have believed it was a conspiracy theory of some kind. So yes, absolutely. There was a New York Times article written, I think in 1989, that talked about a lot of the panhandlers that are out on the New York City streets were making something like $40,000 a year at the time, which is more than minimum wage, which is why, of course, a lot of people do it, right? There are a lot of panhandlers who are scam artists, right? Of course there are. Which is why I'm always an advocate of giving food, because everybody needs food, right? Even if they're scam artists, they're doing that for a reason, and they're going to use some of that money to buy food at some point. So that's why I'm always an advocate of, like, let's just feed them, ask them what they need. Let's just try to help in some capacity, but let's not ignore them, because let's be honest, even the ones who are trying to scam you, think about the place mentally that you have to get where you're willing to go out onto a street corner and beg for money as a job. Can we just think about that for a second? It's a complicated process. It's a complicated problem. It's not something we can just solve with a magic bullet, and there is no way to just say that this one thing is going to solve it all. And this is a good point too. Some of these people who are out here are under the influence of coercive control as well, and they're being forced to give that money to someone else. So anyway, I didn't mean for this to turn into a rant about that. What I wanted to say is that I have a problem with one of the wealthiest churches in the world having a stance that they don't want to help people on the street at all. Because what I was taught as a Mormon is that it's better for me to give my money to the church, because the men who handle the money have spiritual discernment. They're talking directly to God, and God is telling them how to spend the money in the way that's going to help people the most. So I wouldn't give money to homeless people or panhandlers in any way. I would give my money to the church, trusting that those men knew better than I did about how my money could best be used. Suffice it to say, I don't believe that way anymore. Now I try to keep water bottles in my car, and here in Texas, where it's hot outside all the time, nobody doesn't need water. So I try to give water. I try to give food. If I feel so moved at some point, I might give money. I don't give money to every person I see, just because I think there are better ways for people to get the resources that they need. But I do want to help somehow. I don't want to just ignore those people having a human experience, because even when they're out there trying to scam, there's a reason why they're scamming. There's a reason they're not getting a legitimate job. It's because they don't have the skills, or they have mental illness they're dealing with, or they've been indoctrinated in some way, which is what the whole video was about in the first place. Like, some people are indoctrinated into a church. Some people are indoctrinated into a way of living, that the only way you can live is to scam other people. Think about that for a second. All of my dealings with people in the country of Mexico have led me to understand that a lot of people in Mexican culture are taught at a very young age that bribery is the only way to survive. So whether it's standing in line at the supermarket or getting a government form or whatever the case is, they're taught that you give money to somebody, you'll get ahead in life. So I believe this is a big deal to just talk to somebody, find out what they need, like ask them what they need, especially if they're homeless and they're not asking for anything. Just having a conversation with them. They probably haven't had a conversation with anybody not homeless in a really long time. There was a homeless man who used to walk around my neighborhood, and his name was Phil, or at least he told me his name was Phil. Um, I would see him walking up and down the street, walking up and down the highway. I saw him as many as 10 miles away from my house and as close to like right in my neighborhood. And every time I saw him, I would stop and say, "Hey, can I help you somehow?" And he would say, "No, I'm just happy to keep walking along." I would bring him water. I offered him an umbrella one time when it was raining. He was like, "No, I'm just happy to be out here walking along." And I recognized that he was not all there, right? There was some kind of mental illness going on. But I just thought, all he does is walk all day long, you know, and he seems like he's happy. And he probably really wasn't. He was probably really experiencing some trauma of some kind and dissociating in some way. But I just thought, like, every time I talk to this guy, he's happier than I am. Ah. Anyway, um, I agree. The homeless problem is particularly bad in California and in Seattle. I have experienced that firsthand. Just that's the only reason I mentioned Seattle, just because I've experienced it firsthand. Um, I see all of these tent cities along the freeways and things like that, and it's a huge problem. Like, what do we do about it? This is why sometimes I have a hard time getting off the bathroom floor on a Saturday, because I don't know how to address all of these huge problems. Um, I've read so much about these cities who have adopted a housing first initiative, where they say, like, some cities have said, like, let's get them clean from drugs and addiction in the first place, and then we'll find them housing. And then there are other cities who have said, let's get them housing first, and then have mile markers for them to accomplish sobriety and things like that. And the ones who do housing first have had a huge success rate short term. If you look at the long term, though, a lot of these people still end up back on the street. So I don't know how to solve it, you guys. I don't. I have no idea how to tackle this immense problem, because it's so complicated. But what I keep coming back to over and over is that the problems of the world are too big for me to solve. So all I can do is help this little corner of the world over which I have this tiny amount of influence, like these, how many is it? 8,312 followers or something silly like that. And even then, not, my videos only get, like, right now there are 44 people watching, and at their peak they'll get a couple thousand views. So I recognize, like, how infinitesimally small my contribution is. But all I can do is talk about health and healing in my tiny corner of the world, and hope that it makes a difference to these 44 people who are watching. And maybe the small changes that we make will be revolutionary to just these 44 people. I have to be satisfied with that. But the bottom line for me about this huge problem of homelessness is that when I see a person who's suffering, I want to help them in some way. I don't want to just ignore them and pretend like they're not a human being, because they are. And there before the grace of God go I. At any moment, any one of us could be in that same position, because we're at the mercy of governments and politics and natural disasters and all kinds of things that we can't control. So all I can hope is that I can do little kindnesses in my corner of the world. That's all. Anyway, I'm grateful to you guys for being here. Thank you. Thank you for all that you do for each other, to support each other in the chat and to show kindness to each other. And thank you for all that you do when you show up and support the fact that we can have meaningful change in our lives. I look at the amount of time that I spent in the Mormon church and the time that I wasted there, and I think I'm so grateful that I'm out, that I just want to make the most of whatever time that I have after this. So this is what I'm doing with it, and I hope that it's meaningful. I know that it is meaningful to some of you. So anyway, I hope that you took away something tonight that is going to help you in your life. And if you did, please like the episode. Please share it with someone else who needs to hear something positive today. And if you're able, subscribe to the channel. If you're able, become a member. Subscribing is the best free way to support the channel. Becoming a member is a good way to support as well. And as always, my email is open to anybody who wants to have a conversation. Basically, the podcasting and my coaching is my occupation now. It's how I earn a living and feed my family. So if you would like to have a free conversation with me to find out whether or not I can help you, there is a link on my website at third-verse.com where you can sign up for a free consultation, where I'm happy to visit with you and see if there are any resources that I can plug you into. I don't claim to be an expert in anything, but I do have experience and resources in lots of different areas. And right now I'm helping people and coaching everything from people who are writing books to people who are trying to grow their business to people who are exiting high demand religion, people who want to make their home a more peaceful place, people who are struggling with budgeting and finance, all kinds of different things. If I can't help you, I will be very honest and open about the fact that I'm not an expert in that area. Let me plug you into some other resources. I always love to have conversations with you guys. One of my very favorite things in the world is just hearing your stories and hearing if there are ways that I can help you out. So I appreciate you so much. Terry, I don't know what the deal is with this setting, but I will look into it. I'm sorry. I will figure it out. It's on my list of things to figure out. This is like such a learning curve for me, you guys, all of the technology and stuff that's involved in this. So I'm doing my best. I'll figure it out. I really appreciate you guys so much. Yes, I did write a book. It's called I Walked Through Fire to Get Here. It's not really out there to make money. It's out there as a beacon of hope to other trauma survivors, just because it's hard to go through trauma. And when I was going through it, I didn't have examples of people who had successfully gotten through and were actually living a happy life. So I wrote it in the hopes that other people going through trauma would know that it is possible to heal and to move on. So I don't know if I need a certain amount of subscribers to turn that on. Oh, look at that. Teddy Bear did it. I will look at it. Okay. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I know they change settings all the time, so I will figure it out. If it's real that I need a certain amount of subscribers to turn that on, then hey, I guess I just need more subscribers. Thank you, McSpunky. You're awesome. So yeah, honestly, and when I look at my little analytics page on YouTube, it says about 48% of the people who watch my videos are not subscribers. So just take a second to subscribe. It's a really free way to support the channel. And then the more subscribers I have, the more YouTube will push my content out into the algorithm. And so that's just a way to make it a little bit, I don't know, it makes the channel, it gets the channel a little more recognition. The videos get out there more often. More people who are interested in this kind of content get to hear it. So there you go. So you got a couple of gifted memberships right there. Grandma MLM, go back, watch it on 2x speed. Don't worry about it. And I am going to have a lot more content coming out over the next week. The next live is going to be on Sunday evening. Yes, I'm definitely going to do a live on Sunday evening. I'm getting ready to post a little bit more silly content about the stupid secret lives of Mormon wives, just because it's the thing that's trending right now. And I don't know, it's kind of fun to unpack the mental health aspect of it and like the dynamics of Mormon culture. So I'm going to be commenting on that. And then I feel, oh, MB, thank you. I feel so great now that this is over. And now that, oops, sorry, I meant to do this one. Now that this one is over and the call with Colby is over, I feel a lot lighter. And yes, TC, it's a reality show that's on Hulu. It is the moms of TikTok who are Mormon. And you know what, Kitty Marie, you don't have to watch that show because I'm watching it, so you don't have to. So all I'm going to do is recap the episodes and comment on it so that you can catch up on it without actually having to watch it. I am getting ready to do some group coaching for those people who have said, like, I would love to do coaching with you, but I can't really spend a lot of money right now. It's going to be like a very small monthly fee. And then it'll be like a group situation where it'll be on Google Meet so that everybody can get on and comment and things like that. But you won't have to participate if you don't want to, but it'll be a little bit more personalized towards specific issues and things like that. So I'm looking into that, or sorry, I'm developing that. And I'm also developing a couple of e-courses. One is for, this is oddly specific, people who have trouble or people who have emotional attachment to items and have trouble decluttering their house for that reason. It's a little specific, but there's that. And then also, I'm going to be doing more content on healing and deconstructing and all of that kind of stuff. I have a bunch of interviews like in the can ready to post, but I felt like I needed to do this indoctrination video first. The next one is going to be about my deconstruction, a few of the very specific things that I came across that led me away from believing the truth claims. And then after that, reconstructing spirituality in a healthy way with a couple of different guests that I have on my channel. So that's what we have to look forward to. And keep an eye. If you want to see some satisfying decluttering videos, you can go to my Instagram. It's also at @third_verse on Instagram. I've been posting a couple of my decluttering videos on that because I'm doing that here in San Antonio for people in person, but I'm also doing it virtually for coaching clients who are doing decluttering. Admittedly, it's a very different process online than it is in person, but if you need help with that, I am here for you. It's one of my favorite things to do. TC, I actually have a little capsule wardrobe, and it's a journey that I went through about a year ago. I would love to help you with that. You know, either email me, or you can go to my website at third-verse.com. If you go to the tab that's about coaching, or I think it says be delighted, because I want you to be delighted with your home space, you can sign up for a free consult, and I will visit with you for a few minutes and just see what's the best option. Like, how can I help you? Would it be best in person or online? I also travel for decluttering, you guys, because it's so satisfying. You get to go and like transform somebody's home space, and then the results are like immediate. And I even clear away all of the things that you discard and get rid of them for you. It's a lot of fun. So anyway, I just thank you for being here. Thanks for being awesome human beings. And I would love to hear from you. I love connecting with individuals. Mixed Monkey, you owe me an email. We're supposed to set up a time to talk. And the rest of you, anybody, yes, you can, like, I'll do it for you if you want. But the deal is that if I do it with you, then we get to address some of the mindset issues that come with why we retain belongings and why it's so hard for us to get rid of them. We talk about scarcity mentality. It's just so much fun. I actually am going to California in November to do some decluttering for some clients. So depending on what part of California, I could probably fit you in. TC, I have ADHD also, but fun fact, I've learned so many workarounds for it. So I'd be happy to share those with you. Teddy Bear, it all depends on the location. It just depends on what else I'm doing. Because I've traveled for it before, especially if I already have another thing to do in that part of the country or that area or whatever. Super happy to go and include other people. And I'll let you guys know where I'm traveling to. So in case you're in need of it. I actually have lots of friends in the LA area. I would love to come see you. Definitely. Terry, I come to Seattle probably 3 times a year because I have a daughter who lives there. So I would be happy to come and help you out. I do have frequent flyers because, I have kids who are scattered all over the place, so I have to go see them. So if you live near one of my kids, chances are I'll come and declutter. This is an interesting comment. When your parents are safe, you become more attached to things. I would love to talk with you more about that. Send me an email. I start looking for tips on Google, and then there is TMI, and I get tired. Oh, goodness. I'm going to be posting more of these videos. Mostly I post them on my TikTok and my Instagram. So that's where you can find my decluttering stuff for the most part. But I am going to post some more longer decluttering videos here on my YouTube. I am coming to Seattle anytime soon. Teddy Bear, email me. We'll see if we can figure it out. There is a closet story. I am as always, podcasting live from my closet, you guys. Have you forgotten? This is, those of you who haven't been with me from the beginning, this is literally my closet over here. Yes, emails to Megan at third-verse.com. Definitely. Third-verse.com. Megan at third-verse.com. MEGAN. See, there. I can't even cover it back up again. No, it's like that forever. All right, you guys. I have loved spending time with you this evening, but it is late and I need to get up early to take a child to a thing at 6:45 in the morning. So, I'm so grateful for you guys. Thanks for being here. And I can't wait to talk with you again. I'll be back on Sunday evening. We'll do a live, and, yeah. The closeted coach. Eleanor, thank you for sharing this. I just always want to honor when people share hard things. I've had a traumatic childhood. My daughter has not. She can easily get rid of stuff, whereas I can't. Yeah, and it totally goes to the just in case, the what if. There are so many reasons we hold on to things that have nothing to do with the things themselves. They just have to do with the fact that, we have stuff to work through, and we can do it. We can do it together. So, I'm gonna take some of these things into consideration. Business cards coming soon. All right. Love you guys. The name of the book is I Walked Through Fire to Get Here. It's on Amazon and everywhere books are sold. Also, you can go to my website for stuff. It's third-first.com. All right, you guys, take care. Have a wonderful evening, and we will talk soon.